Good evening, everybody. The road to the championship has begun, and we have just taken out Mansfield in a 2-1 away win, helping us move closer to taking that second automatic spot. Great match tonight. I saw almost all of it, just a few little bits as I was running around I missed out on, but it definitely seems like we have some questions. AO over Howard, is he back? Barnett, Longman, what happens there? Maka or Revan? Has Revan stepped up and will he get more minutes? Also in the match tonight, we had a man down problem. Cannon has gone down, could be a very serious injury, maybe the rest of the season. Unfortunately for him, we will have to wait and see on that. But also Barnett was taken down as well. Could he also be injured? The ref bottled it and didn't give a red card tonight. Not that that really would have made much difference to the end of the match. But are Mansfield one of the dirtiest teams we have played all season? All this and more to talk. This is the local pundit. I am Paddy Power, and this is your WREXtra Time. Come on board and have your say. Well, everybody, that was an enjoyable match. Certainly something different. Parky has changed up his squad lineup for tonight, so we need to talk about it all. Who do you think stepped up tonight? Did they steal a position in the squad, or do they get back to the bench? Lots and lots to talk about. We have AO back in goal. How do you think he did? So much to talk about tonight. But first of all, we have taken another 2 points closer to second spot and Wycombe Wanderers. So we are on the way, ladies and gents. Let me present the table. We will have a quick talk about that. And then everybody is invited in. Let me put out the invite code. So the invite code is going into chat as we speak. If you would like to have your say, come join us and have a little seat in the background. I will pull you in just a few moments. But let's have a quick look at the table while we're waiting for people to join us. And don't forget that the ladies are also playing at the moment. So stick them in one tab and stick me in the other. You can listen to me talk about our match while you watch the ladies win theirs. So tonight's result, we obviously know. We just watched it. Mansfield Town at home losing 2-1 to ourselves. But this is a Sunday match and we were the only ones playing. So who played yesterday? Quite a few. And let's have a look because they were good results for us all around. Crawley Town drew with Wigan Athletic 1-1. They're both further down, not too much for us. Oh, I'm reading the wrong results. Sorry. There we go. Yesterday's results. Reading versus Birmingham City 0-0. That was a great result overall. Took points off Birmingham and Reading. Personally, I would have preferred Reading to just lose all the points. But either way, very good for us. Looking at that result, Birmingham City are in the mud. Are they going to slip and lose that first place? Let's see. Rotherham United lost at home to Barnsley. Barnsley are chasing us a little bit behind, so that's not a great result, but c'est la vie. Barnsley won away 1-0. Blackpool 3-1 over Crawley Town. Again, Blackpool is a bit far back, not really of concern to us. I would have preferred Crawley Town to win because anybody who can chase down Peterborough would have been a better result for me. Bolton Wanderers won 2-1 at home versus Leyton Orient. Not a bad result. Both teams are close enough behind us, so either way, we were going to have an okay result. Leyton Orient, I would actually prefer to lose the points there, so I'm really happy with that result. Cambridge won 2-0 over Stockport. Stockport are not doing well at the moment. They just lost their keeper and went back to their second keeper. I believe it's Corey Edai. Is his name. He has found difficulty in getting form this season, so he is going to be between the sticks for the remainder of the game, most likely including ours. Charlton Athletic won 3-0 versus Exeter City. They are chasing us, so that isn't a great result, but again, c'est la vie. You can't win them all. Huddersfield Town lost at home to Peterborough United by a single goal. Peterborough pulled it out. And if they're going to get 3 points anywhere, that is a very good match to do it, because Huddersfield Town are in the playoff spots just behind us. So excellent result for us, even if Peterborough do stay away from that relegation zone for the moment. They will slide later, I'm sure. Lincoln City lost to Burton Albion 1-0. Again, great result. Lincoln City are a little bit behind us, but keep them as far back as possible. Northampton Town versus Bristol Rovers, not really of concern to our fight. 2-1 at home to Northampton. Shrewsbury Town lost to Stevenage 1-0. Shrews were at home. Stevenage winning away 1-0. Wycombe Wanderers then, the other big match, drew with Wigan Athletic. Great result for us. That allows us to now draw 2 points closer to the Wycombe Wanderers. So looking at the table for the moment, we have Wycombe Wanderers on 64 points and Wrexham now just behind on 61 points. But guess who Wycombe are playing next? They're playing the big boys of Birmingham City in first place. So once again, let's hope that Birmingham City hammer the opponents around us, taking points off them, helping us. And then in a couple of matches, we are going to play Wycombe as well. So if we win our next match and they lose to Birmingham, there is a possibility we will already be on equal points by the time we play them. We could even be ahead of them, actually, because it's still a few matches away. So everything is looking good tonight and for the rest of the week. So I am not going to talk about Peterborough because they are not important right now. We are going to talk about the league. And guys, I am on my own tonight. We have no major co-host with us. I do know there's some people hanging around just to back me up if necessary. But come on, guys. This is about you guys, not about me, even though I love talking about myself. So come and join me. Who is going to be the first? So I'm going to have a quick look back through the comments and see if we have any talking points already. Loads of comments there. So let's have a quick look through them. Where are we? Okay, and we're playing the first game, not first game. Bruce is here, John Hills, Brian Burton. First comment up. This was against one of the worst teams in the league by form. Yes, they have not been playing very well. Obviously, we have a history with them because they came up with us from last season. Are they going to go down this season? I highly doubt it. They are playing terrible at the moment. I'm sure that they will pull out 3/4 minimum matches. Will get them over the line. So I think they'll be safe by the end of the season. It might be a little bit dodgy for a while, but let them win now. They're far enough behind. They can take points off anybody else who's near us, and they can comfortably survive lower mid-table and be here next season. Hopefully we won't be, and we will move on to play other teams. Dave's in the house. Let's get them to get a man of the match poll up. Ratbone, Cluart, Revan should be on the list. Yeah, throw your names up there. Who do you think should be man of the match? Lots of people playing well today. So we should have a nice positive conversation about how the team is going. Hugh is listening to the radio in North Simru, North Wales. Okay, David. Great strike by Cluart. He's been threatening that in past matches, but his shots have been blocked. Thunder strikes. Yeah, just a brief mention on that. A fantastic finish, running into the open space and connected well. Obviously, that may have gone wrong, but he connected lovely. Bottom left corner and a great goal for him. That is not a header. That is not on the back post. So proving he can do a little bit more than head the ball and block in the defense. Brian says Ratbone is our man of the match. Hard to go against him again. So that can be interesting. Bruce is saying Ratbone or Max for man of the match. Aaron jumped in with a comment. Hey, Aaron. 117th. Just playing our little game of who's first and second that everybody seems to love in the comments. Who What else do we have here? Man of the match, 2 goals, man of the match. Okay, John Hills. That's the February away gauntlet, very successfully navigated. If we can get through March in good shape, other teams' schedules seem much harder. Yes, I have mentioned this a few times in the past. We have a difficult set of matches coming up, but if we get through those with some decent points tally, then we are in good shape, because we do get towards the easier end of the matches, while our near opponents are going for some of their harder matches. So we could have a little bit of an easier run in. Now, the caveat with that one, as always, as people like to mention and remind everybody, which is absolutely true, is that some of those teams could very well be fighting for survival at the bottom of the table. And that does not necessarily mean they are going to be a walk in the park. When they are fighting for survival, they can be very, very dangerous. So we have a bit of work to do. Now, I do have some graphics on the matches that we still have left and Wycombe have left. So maybe I'll bring them up before we finish the night. Let's see in a little bit. Guys, get your questions in as well. If you're not going to jump on tonight, then put some questions in the chat. I'm running down through it now, and I'm going to mark any of them for discussion this evening. John, Wycombe's last 6 games are all playoff teams, and Stevenage, who aren't mugs either. Yep, again, very tough teams for them towards the end of the season. And if we are even in striking distance of them towards the end of the season, we can absolutely pull it back at that point. But I'm going to be a bit more positive than that. I think we're going to take them much earlier than that and go on a little bit of a run shortly. But the caveat is we need to get through our next 2 matches. Our next 2 matches are really important to take out and keep pushing our position for this league. Online critical. Okay. That is why it was so critical for a rotated side to take the 3 points. Yes, we have rotated numerous players. Probably many different reasons for that. But our rotated side and our rotated players did take the 3 points today. Now, I do believe we had a fairly solid side today and a fairly good match as well. I saw some lovely triangles being passed around, especially in the back towards the midfield. But it did seem to lose out on a pass from midfield with no one coming to collect the ball. Now, is this a function of our attack straying forward a little bit too much and receiving those long balls? Could very well be. So we need to look at that. But overall, I thought the passing was much better. And in the back there, we have Josh, who's going to pop in for a minute, and we're going to say hi. Josh, you ready? No.
First time caller, long time listener. How are you?
Good.
I figured I'd call in. I came out to run an errand, and I saw that you were on, and no one was calling in, so I called in to say hi. How's everyone? Good setup, by the way. Loved it. Nice job. Do we have an update on Andy Cannon? That's my number one concern. If anyone else is, do you have that? Anything?
I haven't heard from someone who was in the ground. They said it looks like a ankle, possibly broken ankle.
Ouch. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
That's not good. Sorry. Is that better? I think that's better.
Yeah. Considering there was an immediate hand up that something was done wrong, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a big problem. So, but I think I was going to touch on this too, but I don't know if you put it in the rundown. But before other callers come in, I want to talk about AO a little bit.
Okay.
That would be my. For me, he looks shaky. I know that goal that went across. I think it was the McDonald goal or their goal. That was. I'm not saying it was fully his fault, but there is some hesitancy there. Am I the only one seeing this, or no?
He seemed to be very stuck. He seemed to be very heavily stuck on his line again, which is something we have questioned about him before. He was on the left side. Obviously, that's where the attack was coming in from. Very much stuck on his line, waiting for the shot. when the ball went across his box, it was very difficult for him to readjust and get across.
Yeah. Do you think he's got a mental problem? Do you think it's just he doesn't control his line? What are we thinking?
It could be a mental thing, and that would make sense as to why he hasn't been starting as quickly.
Yep.
So it's hard to know. That's not something you can really pick on too much from outside.
Yeah, I just saw him today. With this, he never did come for the ball that great, you know. And I'm not saying like that goal was 100% his fault, but he just looked a little more hesitant. You know what I mean? A little more hesitant than I'd like him to be. But he's a young kid. He's a young keeper. So I don't know. What do you think on Wednesday? You think he's gonna go back to Howard?
He may go back to Howard. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe he. I did. Ooh. Sorry, guys. I'm getting a lot of weird sound in my ear. Is everybody else hearing things okay?
I might be not.
Josh, Josh, I'm hearing you perfectly fine.
Okay.
When you're speaking, it's just I'm getting a little bit of echo. As long as nobody else is hearing it, it's fine. I can ignore it. But you've got me good.
Yeah, I got you perfect. Yeah, I got you perfect. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody. It's probably
no, you're okay.
Next time.
Okay. There is some complaints about sound, echo. Yeah, they are hearing problems.
Okay, then I'll jump off. Let everyone else call in. But yeah, get on the calls. There's a lot to talk about tonight. A lot of good stuff to talk about. Patty's doing bits. So I'll let you go. But I'll see you for Wrexham action later on. All right.
Okay. Thanks, Josh. Take care.
Talk soon. Bye.
Okay, guys. Yeah, I was hearing some distortion coming back as well there. So Josh is not available at the moment, so somebody needs to come in and talk to me, guys. I don't like talking to myself. I've gotten used to talking to other people. So someone come and join us. I will throw out the invite once again. And let's see who comes in. You need to do your part. This is a call-in show, people. Okay. Let's jump back to some of the comments there. And Steve Barton is in with some memberships again, guys. Thanks very much, Steve. And who got them? If you got them, please throw some love Steve's way in the chat, because he is great for this channel. He really supports us, and he is constantly helping out with memberships to get people involved. John Merrill with the hot take. Mansfield's number 12. 12 is man of the match for both teams. That's quite funny. I like that, John. Well done. John, if you're about, jump on. We can have a chat about how badly Birmingham's doing. You know, that draw yesterday. Ooh. Okay. Wasn't today an easy match? Brian Burton. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I had to give a shout to one of the kids. Right, we have a guest. Yay. Just 2 seconds now till the camera comes up. I'll pull him in, and we'll have a chat. Maybe he doesn't want camera, but we'll keep going. So Steve, number 12, did score 2 goals. So yeah, man of the match for both. Is a good point. Chris also said that 10 games Mansfield have lost 9 now. So that, yeah, they are really in the mud. That's real mud. Let's check if Bruce is there. Bruce, I'm going to bring you in now. Are you ready? Are you hearing me? Hello?
Hearing you.
Okay, we've got you. Your camera is not working. Did you switch it off?
I don't know why it's not working. I'm on my laptop at home rather than my desktop computer. So I told it to turn on, but it's not on.
Okay, no problem. Well, we're hearing you well, so we can have a nice old chat. Thanks for calling in. So, let's let you pick a topic as the guest. What would you like to hit on first?
First it's Seb Ravon.
Okay.
I've been saying, I said maybe sometime in the first 4 games that we need to see Seb come on against the lower table side. And we saw Seb come on against the lower table side, and he did well. This is what I was hoping for. He had the pace that they had to respect, and it set them back a little bit.
And did you find his defensive duties were on par with Maka?
No, but I found his defensive duties up to the task that he was facing today. This is the one thing why I would worry about him against the top 8 side. But for a mid-table or lower table attack, he was doing fine.
Okay, so you would take the risk with the lower table that his attacking power and abilities are much more suited to get an easy win or help get an easy win than the lack of some limitation with defensive duties.
Yes, and I mean it's still a question mark rather than he showed any frailties, but Mansfield Town didn't put him under the same pressure that he would have faced against some of the sides.
Okay, good call. I didn't see any major issues or lapses today. He had some good attacking pressure, which was good.
Yeah, and he had one great defensive block later in the second half.
Okay. Right, so that kind of brings us on to Maka versus Revan. So we have then Barnett versus Longman. How did you find Longman's play today?
I wasn't as impressed with Longman as with Rev today. On the other hand, he did put in crosses in, and they seemed to be a bit wayward, but he was also, especially in the first half, playing against a very strong wind. So
yes,
some of those may have been wind affected.
Okay, good call there. And then the other one is AO versus Howard. What's your take on that? Josh was bringing it up a little bit. What do you think about AO?
I don't think Howard would have done any better. I had no serious problem with AO in that match. As far as hearing how well he's marshaling the defense, sometimes you have to be at the ground to really pick that up, because it's not something that the crowd might zoom in on. So I'd want to hear from people who were at the match whether he's been any more vocal since his time out to possibly retool a little bit.
Okay. So just looking at some of the comments there, people are generally agreeing with you. Revan was playing better than Longman this match. John Merrill is talking about AO. Here we go. I think your keeper is a weak spot for me, but I don't blame him for the goal, unlike Josh. Yeah, I remember that argument there a while ago about Josh. Josh saying that he parried the ball instead of stopping it. So there was a big argument with John Merrill. But yeah, is AO becoming a bit of a weak spot? Maybe we're a little bit harsh on him, because most goalies have a weak spot somewhere. And I think the pressure we have put on AO, we're expecting him to be the best goalkeeper in the league. Is that right? Do you agree with that?
I think a lot of people were accustomed to him being the best goalkeeper in the league in League 2. And there's a tendency for those expectations to carry over. I still think he's one of the better goalkeepers in the league. And if he had no weak spots, he'd be playing in the Championship or the Premier League. So you do have to be a bit realistic. I think his distribution was a little bit better today. And in the first half, I mean, it was against the serious wind, so his low flat arcing shots were not being pushed back by the wind as much as a higher clearance would have been.
Yeah, and this is an interesting point here. AO seemed better because he was told not to play long ball because of the wind, so more controlled today. Yes, and if he managed to do it and to play without as many long balls, and could maybe take the role that Howard was doing while he was out, then he's learning. I think that's pretty fair to say. You know, if he can be more careful with his distribution, not always take the long ball and learn to play it out a little bit more comfortably, then that's what we need him to do. Madal says here, defensively, we were to blame for the goal. We looked lost. I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, I mean that it was a lack of defensive attention that was allowing that play to continue.
Okay, lots of comments coming in on AO. Dave Foster, I thought AO always looked confident before the injury. Since then, he really looked like he's questioning everything. Okay. Let me know, Bruce, whenever you need to go. That's no problem at all. Thanks. Yeah, absolutely. He does seem to be questioning things. He does seem to not be as confident as you would hope. And it's always this question, isn't it, about his age. Should he be more confident because he is becoming one of the best goalies around? Or do we keep giving him a pass because he's young? If he was a young striker of 20, 21 and was playing really well, scoring goals, would we allow them to not be as confident and just say, oh, he's young? So I'm a little bit flexible on my opinion on that. There's a bit of leeway, of course, I'll give him. But I don't think there should be a massive amount of leeway. He needs to learn like everybody else and step up.
But also, since he's come back, we have seen him make some saves that were really top shelf saves. So we also may be expecting him to make a miracle save every time the ball comes toward the net. And that's just not going to happen, especially on a slippery pitch like today.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a new guest. Brian Burton is in the backstage. You ready, Brian? I'll bring you in. Yes, here we go.
Okay,
welcome.
I'm going to hand over to Brian because I've got to go and do some grading.
Okay, thanks, Bruce. Talk to you later.
Okay.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah, I don't have too long either, but I wanted to say
No problem.
a few things.
Yeah, go ahead.
I really hope Parkey sticks with Rev because I think there's a lot of potential there. I do fault him for his participation in the goal because he chose not to challenge, his player in the corner before he made the pass that led to the cross. And I think that was a choice. It's not that he physically doesn't have the ability. It's that he made the wrong choice. And that's something that the coaches should be able to correct with him. So I think he has the athletic ability. I think he has, the football ability. But, the coaches could just keep working with him, get him the game time, the experience. I think ultimately he's going to be a very good player for us. But if they just go right back to Macca as soon as possible, then, maybe Rev doesn't develop those extra decision-making skills. That's going to be the difference between him being, an average player and a championship player. So there's that. And then I'm concerned about depth at midfield now if Ken and Lee are both out for an extended period of time. So I really think we're almost forced to play Ashfield now on Tuesday and really see what we have and see if he's going to be able to be a contributor for us. And then I think we're going to have to see Evans on the bench almost every league game going forward because James didn't get the rest we hoped he was going to get today.
Yeah.
He played most of the match. And we've got games Tuesday and then immediately next weekend, and no rest on the way. So we really need Ashfield and Evans to both, participate in a big way going forward.
Yeah. So Kyle asked earlier, is there any timetable on Lee's injury? So no, there hasn't been any specific timetable on Lee's injury, but he is back on the grass. So normally when you're back on the grass, you would say no more than 2 weeks of training before you would come back into the squad in general. So it shouldn't be a long time, and could be significantly less than that potentially. It depends on how slowly they want to bring him back in training, what the injury actually was, and how quickly he can recover from it. But I would say anywhere from half a week to 2 weeks, once you're back on the grass. So let's hit the middle, maybe a week. 2 more matches out, and Lee could be back, potentially. But yes, I understand your concern. Yeah, but we have this ability to swap players in who are still very good without having a big weakness. So you were saying there about the bench and needing Evans to play. That's fine, I think, so far. Now, if we lose more, yes, the depth has really gone. Ashfield, I wouldn't mind getting a shot in the next match. But I also want to kick Peterborough 5-0, so put out the strongest team possible, because I would love to just put a number in on them. But that's just me personally. That's my own preference, not necessarily for what should be done by the team. John agrees with Revan, played like that pre-season and in the cup games, and he's a little surprised people are so shocked by his performance. It's probably his best game, maybe. But we still need to see those defensive duties. Maybe didn't have to do them today. But if he's not getting minutes, which you mentioned, then how is he going to improve? How is he going to make that step up? Training, you can only do so much. And everybody can kind of somewhat look good in training, because you're never putting in 100%. Because you're not going to injure each other in training. You're not going to go full pelt to get to the ball and risk something. So it's never the same. So he needs minutes. So yes, I would like to see him on a bit more. However, I still think Longman on that left side will be excellent.
Yeah. And I have a question for you, Patty. Mm-hmm. Not having watched a lot of Burnley, I sort of thought that J-Rod and Fletcher were, similar type players due to their stature, their age, their experience in the Premier League. But I feel like when Fletcher comes on, his distribution in and around the box seems to be much more than J-Rod does. And I don't know if that's just because he's new with the squad or what, but I feel like if I was seeing that, what Fletcher gives the entire game, that we would really be more offensive than what we've been getting so far.
I'm personally a bit undecided about Rodriguez, J-Rod, so far. Hazard says, Revan was great, Max with the finish, but Rodriguez dropping a sure chance. Yeah, he just hit it. I don't know, he didn't lift it. Maybe he didn't look to see where the defender was or where the goalie was. Should he have? Look, these are arguments you can have, but that was a very good chance that he probably should have buried, unfortunately. So for me, yeah, the jury is still out. Looks like a great player, but yeah, you have to learn with the team. You have to know where everybody is. So that's a hard one for me with Rodriguez. He's definitely not the same. He's Fletcher was very good with the headers, being in the right place, finishing it himself. So many times he has gotten a hair close to goals, not counting the ones he has scored. On the ground, he's much more subtle. He just drops balls into dangerous areas. But he's been with the team a bit longer too. And we have questioned Fletcher for making lovely passes into dead space that the rest of the team don't understand. That they just don't have the knowledge of where you would drop these balls and where Premier players would be coming in attacking. So he's had his faults with that as well. And I think a bit of that is what we're seeing with J-Rod at the moment.
That reminds me of Rathbone's cross, which was fabulous for him to even get to that ball. Another great game by Rathbone. And, the commentator on Paramount said, just nobody made the run. Nobody took that chance, even though, it was obvious. So there needs to be improvement there.
Yeah, absolutely. There needs to be improvement there. Steve says Aaron's son Brandon could have made that goal that J-Rod slapped directly at the goalkeeper. That's funny. Okay. And Elizabeth's giving him a hard time too. It was a ridiculous miss by Rodriguez, but he made some wonderful, insightful passes, and I still think he's way better than Palmer.
Let me go on the record and say he's better than Palmer.
Okay. Now, I'm assuming this is a joke, but he said seriously. So, Mad Al, seriously, I'd take Palmer over J-Rod.
He can't mean it.
He can't mean it. He can't mean it. No.
Well, I can't say much longer, but I will say the next 2 league games we must be better.
Yes.
In all aspects, all phases. Defense. I don't know how Rathbone can get any better, but certainly distribution and finishing. I noticed O'Connell is still trying to push the ball up, but that really should be with these new strikers, we should be allowing the midfielders to do that role, and let O'Connell, if he's going to play, stay back on defense. At least that's my opinion. I don't see how there's any benefit to that. If we have good midfielders and good strikers, that we need a center back to be bringing that ball up.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier as well. I was paying particular attention to the way we were passing around the back today. And we had much nicer triangles with players moving into position to receive the ball in the half space between the other 2 players. Now, that stopped immediately once the midfield got it just in around the halfway line, because our attackers were way too far forward. There was no easy pass to get to them. There was no further triangle to move further up the pitch. Now, that's probably a function of the way we play with balls over the top to get to them, so they didn't come back to receive it. And I think we need to mix up that play and understand when we're going to try and pass through, because I think our new strikers have the option of playing like that, and I would love to see them get some opportunities like that without the overlap and cross into the box. And if we can do that more often, it would certainly give opponents and their defenders something to think about, that it's not just up the wing and cross into the box. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm going to let the next caller come in, but thanks very much for having me on, Ted.
Thanks, Brian. Talk to you later. Okay, guys, there was a question there about the ladies' match. Do we have any scores? The ladies' match has been postponed, so it's not been played today for whatever reason, probably the weather. But we do have our next guest on board. John is in the background. John, you good to go? Yes. Welcome in, John Merrill. How crap did you play yesterday getting a draw, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. We should have still won, though. Dykes missed one a bit like Rodriguez today, where he had the whole goal to aim at and decided to hit the one place where there was a player. But it was a fair result. We didn't deserve to win. Neither did they, to be honest. But secretly, they've actually got a very good home record, which I was actually unaware of, to be honest.
Yeah, no, look, a draw is fine. A draw is fine. Takes 2 points off them. That's all good. As long as they're not beating you guys. Take points off anybody who's in touching distance. That's fine.
Well, yeah, we got a big week for you, really, haven't we? More rather than us, to be honest.
Yeah, so you're playing Wickham next.
No, Leighton Orient.
Oh, Leighton Orient. Sorry.
We got Leighton Orient at home on Tuesday when you've got the Peterborough semi-final, and then we play.
Oh,
Wickham
yeah, because Wickham's not
Saturday.
playing. Your Wickham's next match, but it's not your next match. Okay.
Yeah. Which is a concern. I'm not going to lie. They're going to have a full week on us.
That doesn't always help. Sometimes it depends. It
probably would at the moment, to be fair, because we do look a tired side these days, and we've got a few injuries. We've got a great squad, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Stansfield makes a reappearance against Wickham. That wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, so one quick question on Tuesday. I assume you want us to win, or are people secretly hoping Peterborough go through to the final?
I'll be brutally honest, we're not really bothered either way. I think for the spectacle, I think everyone would probably want Wrexham. Probably if you ask most Birmingham fans, they probably would say Peterborough because of the Barry Farey connection in that regard. And of course, he was manager last time we won the competition when we were down in this level. But yeah, I'd be honest, I fancy our chances against either. I think on the pitch the size of Wembley, I think you would really find it hard against us. To be honest, too much space. Yeah.
And of course, we are playing Wednesday, not Tuesday. Everybody keeps making that mistake.
Oh, is it Wednesday? All right, okay.
Yeah, it's Wednesday for our playoff match, because nobody ever thinks it's a Wednesday. Aaron says, Stansfield hat trick, please. Okay, so that's the cup out of the way. I promised I wouldn't keep talking about kicking Peterborough's ass, because fuck me, if they beat us in this match, I'm going to get a hard time.
You're going to have to go to hiding, mate. I'm telling you.
So today's match was not against Peterborough. Let's focus on that. What's your thoughts? Did you watch it?
I watched the first half, and then I'll be honest, I switched over to Man City Liverpool to watch that first half. But it kind of went how I thought it would do in the first half. I think there was a distinct plan from Mansfield to get amongst or get behind your wing backs, which I think worked to a degree. I think the own goal, I'll be honest, I don't know what their player was doing. It wasn't it wasn't like he was unsighted and it came to him, he had time to think about what he was going to do, and don't know what he did. I know Josh on the watch along sort of said AO's got to come and catch it, or got to come out. I'll be honest, I don't think you can ask a goalkeeper to come out and catch that when it's whizzed across the front of the box. But I thought the wing backs were, especially in that first half, I think the wing backs were a worry from a defensive point of thing. I think going forward they looked all right, but I thought defensively they looked your weak point in the sense of if every time Mansfield went forward, it was the wing back areas they focused on. But,
yeah, well, talking about the two wing backs, then we had Revan, who hasn't been getting comfortable minutes, and hasn't been playing very much at all. And one of the things that we said about him from the start was looks very good going forward again, but defensive duties can make some mistakes. Now today he looked a little weak, maybe like you were saying, and was getting attacked and not as comfortable as we would like. But if he's not going to get minutes, then he's not going to improve in that area, which is what Parky needs him to do, because he wants solid defensive wing backs. Now Longman as well is the other player that we just brought in January, who has been coming on for Barnet and playing more. He's a winger. He's a true winger. He has played wing back, but a long time ago. So again, he's still learning the defensive duties that are required of him as the wing back as well. So yes, that was our weakness. But with the two of them playing, it was a choice between wings. Revan was attacking from the left, which lately Maka has not been doing. He has been pretty solid in general with the ball, but he hasn't been getting forwards with it into very dangerous attacking positions. Now, personally, Barnett probably still plays a little bit better on the right-hand side than Longman. Longman didn't do amazing today, but he looked okay. I actually prefer Longman from the small sample I've seen on the left. He looked really strong to me on the left, but it's a very small sample size. And from history, he has played really well on the left. So that's kind of an interesting one as well. He seems to be wanted on the right by Parky. So that's up in the air.
Yeah, I think having watched like the first half and a bit of the second half, I thought Longman looks like a player which you can tell he's playing out of position, or should I say playing in a position he's not used to. You can tell his positional sense. He doesn't quite know where to be positional wise on the pitch. When he's got the ball at his feet, I think he looks far more comfortable, but I think off the ball he's still learning that position. Revan, I remember watching him play for Rotherham in the Championship at wing back, and it was the carbon copy then. He was a threat going forward, but defensively he was just an accident waiting to happen. I remember the Rotherham lads that I know were always saying when they had him that he would always lose his runner. He'd always switch off and the person would be able to run off in behind him, and it happened time and time again.
Well, Parky won't take that. He won't accept that. So very simply, you make those mistakes and cost a goal, that's it. You will lose your spot because he hasn't secured the first spot yet. It's not his. So he is not in a good spot to make those mistakes. Parky just simply won't accept it. He wants solid defense first this season. He has from the very start. He plays more defensively than usual. We are not scoring as many goals as we did the last 2 seasons, which end of the day doesn't really matter as long as you are scoring something and scoring more than the other teams. So it's a slightly different style this season. We're having to do without lots of goals up front. So he won't accept those mistakes. You make those mistakes, you're gone. And at the moment, we have other players. He would much prefer Maka to be in there and solid defensively and expect others to score the goals.
Yeah, I think at this time of the season, when you're into sort of, shall we say, the final running, it's just about the result. It's about grinding those results out now. It's not about looking pretty, being particularly sort of an offensive side. You know, if you grind out a 1-0 win, that's all that matters. Especially in, I would say, the tight race that you are in for second. It's all about the result now. It doesn't really matter how well you play on the day. If you play absolutely terrible and win 2-0, you know, who cares? The history books will still say 2-0, 3 points.
Yeah, exactly. People are not going to care about individual matches. It's the season ultimately that makes the difference. And again, who scored one of our goals today? Max Kluert, defender. So he went charging and actually managed to hit the ball straight, unlike some of our strikers.
I did actually miss the goal because I was making dinner at the right time.
Yeah.
I heard it on the TV in the background. So
yeah, it was a lovely strike. Ball came back out. The sea had parted. No one in front of him, pretty much, and he just lettered the ball. Got a nice contact, bottom left corner. Keeper went for it, but just couldn't get to it.
Early shout. But would he be up there for Player of the Season this season?
He would have to be with the number of goals for us in a defensive role, and his defensive duties have been very strong as well. So absolutely, he should be up there. And he was close enough last season. You know, it wasn't too realistic that he would have won it last season, but he wasn't that far off. He was in the couple of players that you would consider.
Yeah, he's impressed me from afar. I look at him as a bit of a neutral looking in where he's a young centre back. He's got the physique. He seems to have sort of the potential there. I would say he's very much one of your better sellable assets, should we say? But he's definitely got a big future ahead of him, I think.
So let's have a look here. Yeah, I was just asked, is he our top scorer? Well, technically, Sam Smith is the top scorer with 12 goals this season. But he only joined us, so no. So Elliot Lee is sitting on 7 and Max Kluert on 7. And then Fletcher with 6, who is coming in off the bench for virtually every match. So for goals per minute, Fletcher is way up there. But yeah, for having our defender on equal 7 goals, that's significant.
That's a healthy spread, though, isn't it? That's not, you see some sides where you've got one player on 25, 20 odd goals, and then like the next people are on like 3. At least with those, I know it's not. Granted, you haven't got somebody on 15, 20 goals, but you've got quite a few players on sort of decent numbers there, which means you score goals from all areas of the pitch, which is
So
worth
I'll run down through it because I have it here in front of me. So Sam Smith has scored for us since joining. Lee is on 7, Clewart on 7, Fletcher is on 6, Jack Marriott on 5, Ratbone is now on 5, James McLean on 3, Ollie Palmer had 3, Paul Mullen is on 3, Andy Cannon 2, Ryan Barnett has 2, and then Matty James got 1. So yeah, that's 12 different players that have scored for us so far this season, and more than once or twice. They're not all sitting on 1s and 2s as you would often see. So yeah, we're a danger to score from all over the pitch at different times, which is good because it does actually help us in that way, because we often attack so much from the wing with crosses coming in. It's great that so many other players will take chances, take shots, and defenders like Max will get into the box and be coming in, chasing into the box when needed. So that's probably Max's first major strike for a goal from distance. He has come in on the back post quite a bit, and he has been in around the box, taking the rebounds and stuff like that. But that's the first long-range strike showing his ability on that side of it. So interesting. Very good for him.
He's got it in his locker now, so your crowd every time he's going to get the ball 20 yards out, going to scream and shoot like they do with the Water Forest. Every time he has the ball 30 yards out, all our crowd shoot for some stupid reason. So,
okay. George Williams is saying Max should be on 8 now. Did Max maybe score in a cup? That's not counted in that. That's potentially the difference, maybe. I'm not totally sure, but it says 7. Unless tonight's one isn't counted yet. Maybe it hasn't updated with tonight's goal. So I'm not quite sure. Okay, Steve says Maximus is the leading scorer for Wrexham, so maybe it hasn't updated with tonight's just yet. But either way, he's really up there. So we need to sort out our strikers. But it has been a problem. We don't play into their feet. Like I mentioned, we were talking about it earlier. The playing nice triangles, which I saw tonight for the first time for a little bit, it just stops dead. You get past the halfway line, and there's no forward motion for that triangle. It just stops. Our attackers are too far up because they're waiting to take long balls. They don't expect it to be walked up to them where they can receive it. Not too many overlaps in that scenario either, but
I think I said on the watch along at half time, I said it's sort of an off the cuff comment, but I basically said your midfield just looks like it has zero creativity in there. It was everything was coming from wide, I think, as you've mentioned before, but there was literally almost no emphasis or even desire to try and put a ball through the middle or play it to a striker's feet. It was all about getting the ball out wide and sending a cross in, which Rodriguez is good and Smith is good, but they are good strikers with the ball at their feet. I think Rodriguez is probably, he's come from Burnley, so a lot of people have a sort of stereotypical of how Burnley have played under Dyche and stuff, and they expect him to be a big bruiser, but he's a very technical player, Rodriguez, and I think he's probably better with the ball put to his feet or to his chest rather than just, banging it up to his head all the time.
Yeah, and this is the same problem with Smith as well. Smith has done well with the shots coming, the passes coming in high, but you can't always do that. It's much more difficult than getting the ball at your feet and doing a quick turn and off you go. So yeah, he's missing out on that. And this has been the same problem with all our attackers when they come in. Is different style. They have to learn it. And they have to take the chances when they come because they're not going to get too many, unfortunately. Not the way we play. And look, we're playing 2 defensive midfielders. Playing Dobson and James together, this is something we have criticized, but it depends on the match. Some matches it seems to work. And we dominate the ball around the middle, or we're comfortable. They're not breaking through us with being so defensive, but then other matches it just seems to give no momentum whatsoever forward. So it's completely undecided there as to what the best course is.
It's about having options, isn't it? I mean, it's like we have Paik and Iwata, who are both technically two defensive-minded or defensive midfielders, but we play a 10, and obviously our wingers sort of come narrow, so there's always options. There's always a quick pass off from the midfield into that space, whereas obviously I don't think you guys have that. So, like you said, you're playing two defensive midfielders, but even if you had an attacking midfielder in there, they've got to have options available to them to move the ball. You know, and as they always say, you've got to show for a pass, haven't you? So
and that's why I'm bringing it up so much today is we are missing the standard triangles in so many matches, and I'm shouting at the screen, somebody come and take the ball, someone offer space and a pass. Every pass in some of the other matches have been so clearly obvious. It's going to go from A to B to C because they are the only options available. You're supposed to have at least that triangle and two options, two people available for you to choose. Maybe one is more defensive, you know, and one is slightly more attacking. And then depending on the situation, you try and get it forward. But so often in the past, there is only that one pass on. And then it gets shut down and then we long ball it.
I have to say that's the thing that I was probably most surprised about in the first half today was that against Mansfield, who, you know, terrible run of form, very low on confidence, I kind of half expected you guys to, I know you don't have high percentage of possession in games, but I thought surely Mansfield aren't going to step onto you, you know, they're going to sit back, you'll probably have more of the ball. And I thought almost it would be the perfect game for you in a sense, okay, let's stamp your authority on the game and play some good football and really have a go at a side. But I think I said in the chat, you know, I was really surprised how good Mansfield were on the ball and how much they moved the ball around to feet. And very much you guys were sort of sat back playing counter-attack, playing long ball. And I just thought, I know we've seen that a lot from this year. I just didn't expect to see that today against a Mansfield side on their backside, if you know what I mean. So, but you got the job done, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
All that really matters. Yeah, absolutely. So Madal says here, we miss Lee, yet don't have a replacement for him. And that's pretty fair. He is our most attacking kind of midfield there. He harries the ball. He does everything needed. He's very comfortable with the style because he's been with the team now for a long time. And we do miss him when he's not there. Some people have called for, Lee is a bit missing this season. But the truth is what he was doing is quietly doing his job. He wasn't getting the option to score as many goals himself this season, but yet at the same time, he has slowly been sneaking the goals in. And people kind of forget him because sometimes they're not that memorable, but he got in the right place at the right time and he still has 7 goals. So it's really interesting because people have commented on Lee not doing anything regularly because he hasn't scored for a while. And Matt from Racecourse Ramble especially comes in and tries to remind everybody, he's done nothing, but he scored 6 goals. Now he scored 7 goals and he's slowly popping them in every so often, but he's doing the job that's needed. And he never has a particularly bad game. He's just not memorable.
He's one of those players that clearly, from the sounds of things, that you probably don't overly notice when he's on the pitch or, you know, over 90 minutes. But when he's missing for a couple of games, you then notice, you realise, you know, we have the same with Williamson for us, where I'm uber critical of him at times where games can seem to pass him by and it doesn't affect the game as much as I know he can do, or you know, you want him to, but then he'll go off the pitch and then we'll bring Dykes on or somebody like that, and then all of a sudden the quality in our attack will sort of drop, and you would think, even though he didn't do anything sort of, you know, eye-catching, you know, his presence and what he did do, the ugly stuff in there was a real benefit, and when you don't have it, you really notice it.
Yeah. So following up then, Greg says, this is why Matty James is playing so much. He's by far our best passer in around midfield. One of the only players who ever tries to lead forwards. That's talking about Lee, not talking about Matty James. So yeah, Lee is currently missing. You heard about his car crash. That's another one. But he is back on the grass. So it shouldn't be too long before he's available again. And another one here, Cannon's injury. Did you see Cannon's injury?
I did. To be fair, I think I was watching it live on Sky. I was about 30 seconds in front of Josh, and I think straight away you could see it was a bad one because they had the oxygen out almost instantly.
He immediately had his hand up saying something's gone wrong here. Yeah,
I think, I mean, you never like to speculate until they say, but it looked, and I think the Sky commentator said at the time, it looked a bad ankle injury, and they said they wouldn't show a replay of it, which, you sadly put 2 and 2 together, don't you? And,
yeah. Parky has come out and said that it's a knee injury.
Oh, has he?
Which is a little bit strange, actually. I looking at it the way it was, and knee as well. Often you're not in such immediate pain, like you might know it's damaged or whatever, but you're not necessarily in that sort of pain that you're throwing yourself up immediately. But who knows? So Parky has said it's a knee issue.
You almost wish it was an ankle in that regard, to be honest.
Yeah, looking at how bad it was, potentially that's the rest of the season anyway. Whether it's knee or ankle or it could be, and it's certainly some time off. So that's fine. Then as well, so this question as well, Greg, does Cannon's injury open up an opportunity for Evans? Again, talking about our midfield. Now, yes, it does. Cannon was basically sitting the bench. Evans is back from his own injuries, but has now started playing cup games again. And Evans is a very good passer from midfield forward. He's comfortable on the ball. He'll hold up the ball, and he seems to know where the players are going. Because he's very comfortable with the strategy and has been with us a long time. So again, I wouldn't mind seeing him come on, even if it was from the bench in the midfield, because he likes to pass forward where possible. And what I've also said about Evans is he doesn't play fancy passes either. He doesn't necessarily go for the big stuff. He can do it. He has played a lovely long true pass between defenders when available, but he tends to keep it very simple. He knows where the players are. He gets straight, simple, easy passes, easy to collect as well. So yes, I would like to see him back. And I think it's simply lack of minutes that has kept him out, not skill level or anything else. Just coming back from injury. Okay, John Hills has an interesting question here that you may want to comment on. Why would you play Longman totally out of position when we have other options? Have your take first before I jump on that.
Because managers are a weird breed of people, aren't they? Let's be honest. Clearly, your manager doesn't trust others to do the job and sees Longman's long-term position as wing-back. That's clearly why he's playing him there. Right or wrong, you live and die by the decisions you make, don't you? So.
Well, the simple answer is the reason you would play him out of position is because you bought him to play him out of position. Parky brought him in for that position. So he takes all these things on board and he has decided, as he has done with other players as well, that I can teach him the defensive duties I want in wing-back, but he's a winger. And why? Because it's very difficult to get a top-end wing-back that he wants, because he has some old school style. So he prefers to take a winger and teach him the defensive duties rather than try and find a perfect wing back that he can't get.
I think with Longman also, I mean, with respect to Longman, he's not a bad player. I'm not saying he is or anything, but he's not the sort of player you sign where you then rip up the formation and build a side around him, is he? So even though he's a winger, you kind of think, well, you're not suddenly going to play with wingers because you've signed the guy. If you assigned Poku from Peterborough, probably different matter. You've got a real top end, high quality winger. Maybe if you had signed him, maybe Parky then would think, well, I've got to get the best out of him, and doing that is playing wingers. Maybe Longman just, like you said, he sees them as a long-term project where, if he can learn and, get the defensive duties on board, then, perfect option.
Yeah, so someone here, this is the response. No issue with him at wing back, just not in the middle, as someone suggested. Yeah, there was a lot of talk when he first came in, where exactly is he going to play, because we needed a CDM or attacking midfielder that he could potentially have played, which actually I think he still could potentially play it, but that would be going completely off script to do that. And And Parky tends not to do that. And it's very clear now that he has come in for the right wing back position with cover for the left, because he has now played him on the left as well. I really enjoyed the short time he had on the left side as well. But today, Revan got his shot. And if he wants to stay in the team, Revan needs to keep his defensive duties working to a very high standard. It's not his spot yet, and Parky will pull him out of there immediately if he messes up in his defensive duties. Guaranteed.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think if McLean has got a heartbeat and has got two legs that work, he's going to be starting in the left wing back, isn't he? Let's be honest. I don't see him being dropped for anyone. Personal opinion.
Yeah. But he is one yellow card away from a 2-match suspension.
When's the cutoff for that? It's got to be coming up.
It's still a little bit away. It's a long one. Now it might not be a crazy amount of matches away. 3-4 still.
I've got sort of late March, April in my head for
see that
for 10.
and with playing 2 matches a week, it's still that's still a long time away.
But he's been on 9 for a while now, hasn't he?
He has.
Yeah.
But he has lost a little bit of his mojo in attack, and he hasn't been getting yellow cards. So some people are saying he's not playing to his full abilities, and when he plays to his full abilities, he has to risk the yellows.
He's an older player. It's a long season, and he's played practically every game. He's, as much as I dislike the guy, but he's a 7 out of 10 most weeks, isn't he? But at his age and this point of the season, it's natural you're going to see a drop off in performances. To be honest.
Yeah. So just going back for a second, the talk on Longman there being in the midfield, people are saying this as well because he played something like 21% of his career as a striker. So he's played left, he's played right, he's played striker. He kind of has everything in the box there to be an attacking mid in the role as well. And look, if we get any more injuries in our midfield, I wouldn't be absolutely surprised to see it. That wouldn't be unheard of.
Yeah, I'm going to say with this type, at this point in the season, it's if anyone can fill in anywhere when you got injuries, you just have to bite your lip and do your job, don't you? He's a wonderful option to have, though. I mean, every manager loves players like that have got multiple positions that they can fill in, because it's just the versatility where you can have a player, whether he's on the pitch at the time or on the bench, that ultimately can cover 4 or 5 different positions. Then managers love them, don't they?
Okay, we may be incorrect. John Hill says that Google says 10 yellows by the 32nd game. That was our 32nd game. So maybe he has survived.
Yeah, maybe.
So
it would seem about right, isn't it? Because I think you've got the 3 cutoffs, haven't you? You got 5 yellow cards, 10 yellow cards, and 15 yellow cards. So
I just didn't think he was that close. But anyway.
No, I must admit, I always thought I know they go by number of game these days, where I always thought it used to be date in the season. But hey, who am I to disagree with Google?
Yeah, so here's the other question: is Maka could be injured too? So Maka had a injection into his thigh, I believe, in order to have an X-ray or some scan of a type to check if there's an issue that he has. So Matt Al is saying here that if it's a labrum tear, we won't see him for a while. He'll be recovering from that. So then we have Revan coming in to play a bit more, and then we have Longman as the backup as well, so he can play either side if Revan needs to come off. So
did I see Maka post a picture on Instagram, or somebody shared a picture of him being at home watching the game or something? I can't remember if it was in Discord or online or something, which I thought, well, he must be not badly injured, but must be injured enough that keeps him away from the matchday squad, because if it was just a slight injury and he was going to miss a game or maybe 2, a lot of players do still, especially club captains, would tend to travel with the squad anyway, wouldn't they? So
Generally, yes, but we know he was having that scan done, and if it is an injection into the thigh, you potentially would be resting if that's painful. But look, who knows? They do generally travel, but not necessarily always if there's some injury to worry about. Okay, so John Hills is saying, watch Macca come out frothing at the mouth next game and put someone in the stands.
Yeah, get booked within the first 5 minutes, probably. Yeah.
He must have a lot of pent-up frustration. And Greg is saying it was telling that Macca was watching from home. And that's kind of the point, yeah. If he was potentially injured, then yes, you would leave him behind and let him rest. So yes, that could be telling. But how telling, we don't know, because we've got a cup match coming on Wednesday. And then we have next weekend. So
yeah, I mean, and plus you don't know how many, shall we say, entourage you guys take. For instance, I know against Reading, Stansfield travelled with the squad. He was with the players. So, it could mean something, it could not, but it depends how many. It depends on each manager. Some managers like to keep the team dressing room, even though you've not involved or injured. As long as you're not badly injured, they like you keep you all together for that togetherness. But each manager's different.
Yeah, exactly. Now, guys, we have been going an hour 10 minutes. So if you have any more questions, throw them in. Because we've been talking about Macca and the left wing quite a bit now. So if you want to grab anything quick before we finish, then throw it in. Because if not, maybe I'm going to start shitting all over Peterborough again. Because that's my go-to. Any chance.
I don't need convincing to do that either, to be fair.
Okay. Elliot Dawson has got a little bit of a change here. I think these last couple of games have taken a good amount of heat off Palmer and Mullen. I'd still give the new blood a few more games to mesh and get a rhythm. But if the roster is based on merit, so should we potentially be getting some others in to start? Dum, dum, dum. This is a hard one. It is a hard one. They're still fresh. They're still new. They were brought in. They do need the time. So
I don't see you changing away from.
I don't.
I think as much as I think the chat and most of your fans won't want to hear it regarding Mullen, I think Palmer and Mullen are done. You wouldn't have bought in the players you did if the confidence in those two were still there. It's their fifth whatever choice now, and I think that's that. That won't change suddenly.
Okay. Greg has a quick question there. Roster question. If Cannon is out, do we now have 2 roster spots open? No. Cannon has been given a spot. Therefore, if he's injured, we have to deal with it and just suck it up. Now, of course, squads have officially gone in, of course. That's all done and dusted. We do have a open spot. We didn't fill all of our spots, so we still have that one spot available to bring someone into. Parky does like to do that. He likes to leave one extra space when he can.
I think we're the same. We've got one extra spot, I think, even though we won't fill it. So
yeah, we probably won't fill ours either, unless we do have a couple of players that didn't get registered. So obviously they can be dropped in at any point then if we feel that they may be needed on the bench or to join the squad. We have Ollie Palmer still on the squad, and he probably won't kick a ball again. He is completely out of favour.
Yep. I agree with Dan's point there. It's still about service into the box. Yep.
Yes.
It's the Achilles heel for your side, I would say. Yeah.
But the simple point is, the better your front two are, the better chance they're going to have of getting on the end. They're one of those few options or finishing them. So we have upgraded. We have a better shout. And look, it's already happened. Sam Smith taking that long range ball from Howard, taking it down and slotting it home. Look, it's already happened. So
it's about the clinical nature of your forwards, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's quite plain to see that Parky has decided that the likes of Rodriguez and Smith, he trusts far more to be more clinical with few chances you get than Palmer and Mullin. Just fact, sadly, for them.
Yeah. John Hills. I believe Joe Morel is still a free agent and his Welsh royalty may be an option.
I did see he put that earlier, and I replied back sort of with a play on words saying, "No, I've long retired. Sorry." So
yeah, it's a bit late in the season now to be doing stuff like that. But hey, who knows? Highly unlikely. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised at, and this is something I'm surprised people aren't all over with the cameras checking our training squads when they're practicing, because I wouldn't be surprised for Parky to just pull someone into the training for like 4 weeks before giving him a place in the team and giving him that extra spot. I don't think it'll be a last minute thing, but it's not unheard of to invite people in to train for a while and just get their fitness up. And then all of a sudden, oh, look, we have an extra player.
Yeah, I think when we had John Eustace as manager, we would constantly have people training with the squad, free agents, but not because we were willing to sign them or wanted to sign them. It was more they were friends of his or acquaintances, so they were just training, keeping fit. But it made good for social media activity and rumours, didn't it? So
yeah, everybody's asking me to shit on Posh. I'm like, sorry guys, that's next week. Now, apparently, let's just give a little heads up there. Apparently, we have Ashley from the Poshcast coming on sometime this week. I haven't heard it confirmed, and I haven't been invited onto the show with him just yet. But that should be fun if that happens.
He's the sensible one, though, isn't he? Out of all of them,
is
he? Yeah, he is. Yeah.
God fucking help him if he's a sensible one.
Yeah, he's I would say he's probably the more sensible, down to earth one, really, out of all of them. So, hey, put it this way: one of them, when we played him, decided to wear a Villa shirt and everything. Yeah. So, you know, but I think they all do it for the clicks and clips, don't they? To be honest, they like
Josh
to be
is here, confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I know it's confirmed he's coming on, but it hasn't been confirmed when I'm joining him and we're having our episode. I haven't been told when it is. So anyway, I did put a challenge out there. Did you hear?
Yeah, something about wearing a Peterborough shirt or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, of course, Ashley has to be told about it, because maybe he doesn't watch our podcast. Although I'm sure he does. I bet he's heard.
I'm sure he does.
But he needs to confirm that he would like to take the offer on. So the offer, which I'll put out there again, is pretty straightforward. If they beat us, I will buy a Peterborough shirt and wear it for a week on the show.
I bet you if you had asked him last week, he probably would not be keen on the bet. But now they won on the weekend. I bet you know now they're going to go on a 10-game unbeaten run and smash everyone 4-0, aren't they? So,
well, if he wants to do it, like, now, see, I'm even being fair about this, because he only has to wear it for one episode, because they only do one episode a week. Like, they don't do a lot of work. Like, they should be putting more effort in. You know, like us, we do hours and hours and hours. So if I lose, I'll have to wear that bloody thing for what, 4 or 5 hours in the week? I said all week. I'll wear it all week, as long as he wears it on their show.
To be fair, though, it would be rather depressing with multiple shows and how crap they've been having to discuss about that 3-4 times a week, wouldn't it? I mean, that would just really kill you off.
Oh, God. Look, I'm not even going to talk about it, because there's no chance we're losing that match. Not even slightly. It's going to be the biggest score of the season. I'm telling you, like, what, we haven't had a 6-0 this season yet. I'm calling it now 6-0.
I'd like to see the team sheets first, if I'm being honest, because I'm not sold you'll go really strong.
I don't care. Our second string is enough to beat them 6-0. They're that useless. They're going to get look. Come on, they're going to get relegated.
It'd be funny to see. I'm not. I can't see it. I just think the bottom 4 are just terrible, to be honest. I mean, they're
Yeah,
terrible as well,
yeah.
but it'll be a tough game, though. I'm saying it'll be a tough game. I know you say 6-0 and stuff, but as Bradford showed us, it ain't easy.
Yeah, look, do I really believe 6-0? Or am I just messing about?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't
5.
care. We'll just give him a kicking either way. The yellow cards don't really count in that match. We can have a
no,
few
they
yellows.
don't. No.
Josh. Okay, just a little disclaimer here on behalf of the local pundit. All of the viewpoints that comes out of the mouth of Paddy Power are not representative necessarily of the viewpoints of the local pundit. They are his and his alone.
Wasn't Josh saying you were going to win 7-0 the other day or something? You know, it's his favourite scoreline, isn't it? 7-0 these days.
Oh, I think that's when they were trying to do my scores for the picks for the weekend. Yeah. Oh, Aaron, Parky is going to set up with 10 behind the ball and park the bus versus Peterborough. No, he's fucking not. Anyway, okay. I think we've had a good show today, and we've discussed pretty much all the points of the match today. We had a lovely win. We're not that far behind second. You're going to take another 3 points off them. And then we're going to take 3 points off them when we play them in a couple of weeks as well. So that'll be us in second, and that'll be us up in the championship. So that's the positive note for this week, guys. Thank you to everybody for coming in. We still have 121 people here, but we don't really have much more to talk about. And I think I've said enough about Peterborough. So very good result, very happy result on that bombshell. Take care, guys. See you next time.